Recently I've been reading a lot of the Silver Age comics, and something dawned on me. Stan Lee and the creators really loved alliteration. That's where you have two words with similar sounding beginnings, usually the same letter. Super Skrull, Silver Surfer, Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Bruce Banner, Matt Murdock, Peter Parker, Kirk Connors, Otto Octavius. It could just go on forever, seriously. That's not what she said. As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we're giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. My name is Mr. X, you're watching the Extreme channel. We have a statue from XM Studios. XM Studios created this quarter-scale Super Skrull statue. That's right, this is really big right now because Secret Invasion is on Disney+. Now, the episodes I've watched, they haven't introduced the Super Skrull, who has abilities the other Skrulls don't, but I'm hopeful that they will. So Super Skrull first appeared in the early Fantastic Four comics. You can see I have a 5.0, not a super valuable version of it, on the table over there. And I actually recently reread all the original Fantastic Four in the last 6 months or so. Now the Skrulls wanted a more powerful being, so they created him who could mimic the powers of the Fantastic Four, who are widely known through the universe as one of the most powerful teams. So XM Studios made this as part of their Fantastic Four line. They've actually started teasing and even made production of some of the pieces so far. I like everything I've seen from them. However, this is the only version I'm getting for a few different reasons. Number one is I actually own these different Fantastic Four pieces right here, and I've owned other ones in the past. I do have a custom Mr. Fantastic on the way. And if you're thinking, Mr. X, I thought you already had a Super Skrull statue, you're absolutely right. I have this custom piece right here. Now make sure you've not only liked this video, but you've subscribed to the channel, hit the bell notification, because in a few weeks we're going to do a comparison between that custom, it was a private unlicensed commission, and this license piece from XM Studios. Now, as I do the review today, I'm going to try not to give away too much of where I'm leaning on which one is better, because I think they both have their merits. But in the end, I'm probably only going to keep one because there's only one Super Skrull. So let's look at this one Super Skrull that XM Studios created, and it definitely has a lot of merit. Starting on the base here, he is standing on top of a rock and the Fantastic Four ship. So assumably, he destroyed the ship, he smashed it, and I think it goes with the other characters in their line, which is pretty cool. And we don't know if it's crashed on Earth, it's just a rock-like base, but the paint and sculpt is really good on that, and we'll get to that later. As you move up, he's starting to use the Fantastic Four's powers. So first of all, you see flames everywhere, as evidence of Johnny Storm, or the Human Torch. But what I really like about this is you see a force field or force shield starting on the inside here. Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman's powers, and he is a big dude. This is a really big Skrull. Now, honestly, he was pretty skinny in the comics, if I remember correctly, but they took kind of their own interpretation. That's what XM Studios does. He's in the middle of battle. He's leaping forward. On the right, he has transformed his arm into the Thing. Although I can't remember correctly, I think he just had the Thing's strength. I don't know if initially he was able to actually transform into the rock body, but on this particular one, and there's some switch outs we're going to look at, he's actually turning that hand invisible too. Very cool Easter egg. Very fierce. On his left hand, you see the two other powers. You see Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, Stretchy Boy here, consumed also in fire. So another tribute to Johnny Storm. So I love what they did here. I think it's an amazing concept. Super Skrull is fierce. He's badass. He's really hard to beat. I think this is a 5 out of 5 on the concept. Really well done, XM Studios, especially the fact that it can pair well with the rest of their Fantastic Four pieces, or what I assume, because they haven't revealed them all yet. Now we're going to look at the design. Before we look at the design, we always show a quick 1-minute unboxing and assembly. 83-pound box, which is nuts because the statue's not that heavy, but they went back to making art prints again, which is fantastic. I think they stopped doing this for a while. It's back. Had another descriptive piece of where everything goes, and that little placard that come with the statues was pretty cool too. Had the box that you have to have the strength of a god to get the lid off, straps, white foam. Here is the first layer, and then the second layer. Everything had wax and plastic on it. we're going to assume this is the front. If that's true, he's actually deeper than he is wider, which is rare. But he's about 19 inches deep. Then the base is it's probably widest on the front. The base itself is about 12 inches. But then you probably add another 6 to 8 inches with these parts sticking out. And then the highest point with this switch out is just under 25.5 inches. For exact dimensions, check out Cosmic Chase Collectibles website. That's where I got this. I'm going to throw a link in the description below. It's not an affiliate link, and I'm going to talk more about them later. Now, he has 1/4 scale, which is kind of the big scale for Marvel, although a lot of companies like PCS and LBS have been going nuts with 1/3 scale Marvel pieces, which are bigger, because yes, I have to let you know, just like I had to educate you on what alliteration is, 1/3 is larger than 1/4. I've said this before on videos. Years ago, Burger King actually came out with a 1/3 pound sandwich, and people wouldn't buy it because they thought it was smaller than the 1/4 pounder at McDonald's. You're getting tons of trivia today. But anyway, so there are different display options. I alluded to that. They're mainly the portraits and the arms. So first, on the right arm, he can have a thing hand, which I think is pretty cool. And he's going to punch. I like the fact that the fist is closed. Or the one you've been looking at, open palm, and it's starting to turn invisible. I really like this. It's such a cool effect because it's unique. The left arm, you can have just Mr. Fantastic's hand, or you can have it completely fiery. I'm kind of torn on both these because there's so much fire elsewhere on the statue. 2 portraits. One, a very sinister one. I like this a lot. However, I think the screaming one goes better with the statue as he's leaping forward and attacking. Some fantastic display options for sure. I also really like how they show the powers on the front here, but it doesn't really take away from the statue behind it. Specifically the shield and the flame on the back, so they were covered by the Skrull himself, but you can still see the Skrull through that. I think that's really, really smart. Now, one interesting note, as you saw me put it together, you might have seen me almost drop this arm right here. So it goes in via peg and key. Now, obviously, gravity is going to pull it down. So one of the connecting pieces here actually has another peg that pegs into here and magnetizes onto there, almost like a bridge to hold that up there. Will it stand the test of time? I do not know. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and because of that, and because of the ingenuity on that and all the great other stuff, I think it's a 5 out of 5 on the design as well. Paint and Sculpt, XM Studio doesn't really miss on Paint and Sculpt. They do, but it's kind of one-offs. I don't think this is an exception. Now, if you recall, the other Super Skrull I reviewed, I was a huge fan of as well. So it's still a close race in my opinion. But let's look at the Paint and Sculpt on him up close. Now, while both portraits are pretty identical, other than the expression, I wanted to share both of them with you. I love what they did on the teeth here. The Paint and Sculpt is just second to none. Even the lizard-like texture he has and that fantastic smirk. Wonder if he's related to Thanos with the bald chin, but they just did an amazing job. I like the silver on this helmet, and you'll see it on the other one as well. It's not too shiny. Keeps with the dark format of the statue and the character. And then here, the wide open mouth, his eyes a little more pierced down in an angry expression. Great paint on the tongue there, a little bit of a moist effect. Absolutely incredible. His outfit, again, armored up on the top. Looks fantastic. He always has like these, pointed triangular arm pads there. And as you move down, he's a very big dude. Now, typically, I'm not digging this because it's very different than the comics. Like even this, which I think might have been some of their inspiration. Very big dude. I do like the paint on it though. I think it's absolutely fantastic on his costume. I like the folds in the suit. And then I like the transition of where all the fire starts. They did a really good job with fire. You know, they kind of pioneered the way with painted polystone for fire with XM Ghost Rider years and years ago, which I've owned and is a fantastic piece. I really like what they did here. They added a lot more colors to it to give it almost movement, even though it's a static statue. And even the way they made his fingertips red here, I think that just adds to it. Really impressive. Let's look at the thing arm. Awesome job. I really like this. I thought their Thing statue that's coming out, I don't believe it's out yet, I might be wrong, looked absolutely fantastic. And there's so many great Thing statues out there. I just am not going to trade up. My wife actually painted mine. But then the translucent effect where the invisibility factor is coming into play is pretty cool too. Look at the texture and stitching on the boots. There's so much detail in here, and I think the variation of the dark colors with that contrast to the purple has all this shading on it still gives him that illusion of an evil character. There is the Fantastic Four ship. I think this is fine. I think the rest of it is absolutely phenomenal. I think this is good, so not as good. It's lacking a little bit of detail, micro detail I would call it, but it still looks good. I like the damage on it. Here it's torn and you can see some of the innards of the ship, the venting on the back, little details where it's ripped up right here. Some wires coming out of the back. Granted, this is a part you don't see too often. Again, I think it's better than average. It's just not as amazing as the Skrull himself. But I am a big fan of The Rock, believe it or not. They knocked this out of the park. You know, I've owned so many statues that have a rock or dirt texture and paint, and it doesn't look good. This looks phenomenal, the addition of the reds. I really like the fact that this is mass factory painted. It's impressive. They added a little bit of green-blue to the edges of the translucent force field. And again, it's just on the edges. Maybe that's how it's designed or engineered. I don't know. I don't create translucent resin for a living, but and again, great job on the fire effect around that. So overall, really impressive with the paint and sculpt. The big disadvantage is how thick this dude is. Paint is absolutely phenomenal. I love every part of it. I know when they initially revealed it, some of the colors weren't as comic accurate. So I think they listened to some fan feedback, which frankly, a lot of times XM Studios doesn't do, and changed it up a little bit, which is nice. But that's more art direction than it is actual execution of the paint. Again, just getting off topic, a little more trivia, a little more info for you guys. 5 out of 5 on the paint. Sculpt, equally impressive. I think that he's too bulky in my opinion. I do like it, but it takes away from the comic aspect. So I think it's a 4 out of 5 on the sculpt simply for that, but it's still really, really well done. All right, so now we're going to see, was he worth it? They made 499 of these. That's a decent edition size. I don't think it's too big. I don't think it's too small. So as I said, I got this from Cosmic Chase Collectibles. They are a go-to not only for XM Studios statue, they're actually based out of Singapore, which is pretty cool, but they ship everywhere worldwide. But they can get almost anything. Prime One Studio, I've gotten Queen Studio pieces from them. So make sure to check out their website. It's really easy to navigate. You can look at what's up for pre-order, what's in stock, different brands. We talk about XM Studios. Just really fantastic prices, and they do ship internationally. And they are without a doubt the fastest when it comes to shipping in the game. So check out Cosmic Chase. There's a link in the description below. It's not an affiliate link. I don't get anything if you click on it, but definitely worth a look. He retailed for 1,600 Singapore dollars, right around 1,200 US, plus you're paying about 300 shipping. So you're about $1,500 all in for a very large quarter scale statue with a lot going on. I still think that's overpriced. And the problem is I don't think Super Skrull is going to be highly sought after. And this is why. We've been waiting 20 years for some fantastic, no pun intended, quarter scale Fantastic Four pieces. And they haven't come out. You would think by popular demand they would be a huge sought after item. They're not. Now if he makes his way into the MCU, and if he already has, I am behind on Disney+. I don't think they do it on The Secret Invasion, because he wasn't part of that story. I think the value could go up, but honestly, I think the value is probably a 2 out of 5 right now. I think if you bought this at retail, you'd have a hard time getting your money back, despite the fact that it's really good. Is it the greatest? Is it a 5 out of 5 statue? I like this a lot more than I thought I would.
That's what she said.
But maybe due to the lack of popularity in the character, maybe that's what's affecting it. He doesn't have the X factor. He's not a 5 out of 5 overall. He's a 4 out of 5, which is better than average and definitely something that is very, very cool. I'm definitely glad I picked him up. It's going to be a tough decision between those two. Today, what I want you to do in the comments is throw down some other alliterative Marvel character names that I didn't say, throw that down in the comments below, because we are racing towards 35,000 subs. Because later this month, we're actually giving away 2, maybe 3 statues for our 30,000 sub giveaway that we just hit last week. So very excited about that. But if you miss out on that, the lights just went out. I'm almost done anyway. But if you miss out on that, now is the time to comment for that 35,000 sub giveaway. We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Hey, thank you guys. If you could drop me a like, I would appreciate it. I'm literally home for 10 hours. I unboxed this, reviewed this, and then did all my chores, went to bed, and I have to go back to the airport. So I'm only home for 10 hours, and I wanted to review them for you guys. So please give me a like and drop a comment below. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.